We are live.
We gonna have a cuckoo.
All right, there it is. Do you see a video? Ladies and gentlemen, roosters and hens,
What's up?
we have a delay.
We do have a delay. We're new here. Welcome to Cock Talk.
Are we live?
We are.
Oh, good. Just making sure
Yeah.
that we're still actually live. Sorry, we're late. We are late, but we're here.
Okay, I saw that what the problem was there. Since I had it up on my computer as well, I was getting it in my ears and it was completely wrecking me. So here we are, Cock Talk, episode 2. We have finally found our way onto this thing. We went through a couple technical difficulties to try to figure it out, but we are here, we are clear, and we are. That was close, but we are actually only 15 minutes late, so I'll take it. So this time, maybe we'll actually start out with introducing ourselves, so you know actually which one of us we are. I am Tyler. I am at MBF Express on Discord. We have our buddy Blake at the Waddle Waddle Racing Group. And then we have the guy that's bringing this home, the guy that's been busting it since about hour and 30 minutes now, trying to get us on here.
Yeah.
We got Josh with Grateful Coops with that beautiful looking tie-dye combo in the background. And we are hoping that this is coming through loud and clear because we're excited. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get into. And this time, we're going to try to slow it down just a touch and find our way through a lot of big news that came through, a lot of exciting things. Everyone kind of has that buzz again. You know, we still see the market. Looks a little bit leery, but we'll get into that. And I think right off the bat, Josh, did the video already play? Did we already run through the...
I got a little click
Chicken
happy and advanced a little early, but
right.
this is the video that the devs dropped earlier this week. And I don't know if about you guys, but this got me rearing to buy more chickens and mint more chickens and literally spend my savings account on more chickens. So here's the video. We'll try and break this thing down as it goes. All right. So
That part right there. That's big money right there.
yeah.
That was one of the first things that jumped out the plate was how big those dollar signs were as soon as they popped up.
Yeah, for sure. The
And this is just the rough draft too. So this is what I just like that they're dropping numbers.
well, same.
Yeah, right. I love that. I actually love that I saw, I think it was Elemental was like, hey, I really hope that we see these graphics kind of get bolstered. And I love right now, without this seeming like we're just coming in too hot with just really enjoying everything the devs are doing. I just love the transparency. I love how honest and open, especially Apex is when he comes in and just lays it out and says, hey, we were apprehensive about dropping this. We know this isn't up to snuff, but we just, we're excited. We know you guys want these little things. And yeah, the funny thing was, like, for me, I really just want to see this game be functional and fun. And if it looks better than that, even better. I'm happy to see it. And, I liked seeing those. I even just like seeing those two little things, like seeing the anvil and seeing that it only hits one person and whatnot. And it's like, anvil. Don't know if I like you so much anymore.
Right.
And they said that there's clues and everything. So of course we're watching like Hawkeyes over here, picking up on every little nuance, even the ones that don't, like the two hens, right?
Yeah. Well, Chicken Apex I did ask that question. I said, just to clarify, there are two hens in that breeding egg hatch, and he said that was an error. We'll correct it. So, no same gender breeding.
Hey, it's only letting people with a channel comment. I don't know if you can change that while we're on live, but Harvey just let us know in the Discord.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We'll figure it out. We're all fresh and new, so
Yeah.
we'll get it tightened up.
So they dropped this guy on us. They threw the old chicken devolution
Yeah.
rough draft, and it's pretty slick. What you don't see there is the when he changes the eyes at some point, and that chicken actually starts running faster. So
Yeah, we went to lizard eyes, and
yeah,
that got me because I got a lizard eye, and I was like, "Ooh, look at that! That's what actually created the." Because I was actually wondering, because it does say in the breakdown of the evolution is that as it transforms into the dinosaur, it will chomp to the left and the right adjacent lanes and actually start taking out the chickens you pass. But I was wondering if it'd actually be faster. And that little this little thing here, as soon as it jumps over to the eyes, you see it kind of jump and you see it kind of go a little faster, and it's interesting because a lot of these little talents they dropped all seemingly seem like they do the same things, at least on the write up, but they're going to have individual little tricks. And I think, as Blake probably will allude to, there's going to be ways that we believe the every little thing, whether it's the eyes or the talents they have, they can counteract each other, and which ones it hits and when it deploys. And it's going to be a lot of fun figuring out when we get into actually racing how this is going to go.
yeah. So just to update Harvey there, I can. It's set to anybody can comment. So
Yeah, it looks like the comments are coming in now. It looks like we're okay. Actually, I saw a few in there that popped up already and said good to go now.
nice. All right. Well, also during this week, Chicken Derby Apex dropped a Word document, and this is just a list of the talents that he sent over to the animation department essentially to work with. This doesn't really give us a whole lot of in race. What's the word I'm coming up? We're trying to look for of a whole lot of in race detail, but it does kind of give us some insight into what is going to happen when these talents do come out.
Yeah, more I kind of described it as like the artist description. Kind of what he wants the the videos and the scenes to look like in a lot of it. One thing I noticed and I picked up a little bit is it seems like a lot of them will like freeze or delay the other racers. So, um, like on the CK-47, they're kind of getting delayed and shot back. So there's some interesting tidbits in both the new drop that he came out with the descriptions versus compared to the original that was in the tutorial.
Yeah, what I'll be curious to see there is just like how much each one affects it. Like I think it was the helicopter where they said that obviously helicopter comes in, you jump on the rope, and then you start shooting your gun, and it says like lightly affects them. And I think with the
Yeah.
CK-47, it said they wince a little bit. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
actually have the full effect. So it's like which one of these are actually going to have a more substantive effect? Like how much is it going to slow somebody down? Like maybe Anvil isn't so bad as it maybe it always goes after the leader or someone in front of you, and then how long does it hit you? How long does it actually stay down for? Like we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna be counting seconds. We're gonna be counting like right down to the mid bit of like how much they're going.
Yeah. I
So,
think of it like this, and this is what I was kind of. I'm sure we'll touch into this a little bit more, but the CK-47 will like give him like a -3 hit, whereas like Black Hole might give him a -25 hit. You see what I'm saying? When they're
Right.
racing. So I think it's gonna be. I mean, everything is gonna be numerical based. I believe.
yeah, and think about this though. In the Sarama description, it says hard to hit. So, okay, does that mean that that bird is less susceptible to any of these talents hitting it, or say
Maybe
like a
certain ones.
CK-47, it can
Yep.
dodge it, or it
Yep.
misses
Well, that's
them?
got to be like it's always funny because you always played Madden and you always had that
Yeah.
buddies that were just like, oh, I swear my guys don't never get hit. Like, or you always hit my guys, and it's like, come on, it's all an algorithm. Like every one of those numbers are computating through the elusiveness,
Mm-hmm.
through the ability for that tackler
Yep.
to hit, and or you hit stick, and where you're on the field, and all that bit. And they're gonna have all this mapped down. I think you're 100% right that there's going to be, you know, something quantitatively set up where it's just like it just spits out an algorithm and bang you get the
And
automatic hit.
and this goes back to the market point as well. We all right now have 90s. So if we're all got Madden guys, right? Imagine if we all had 90s and then we knew that there's going to be 70s and 80s and 60s dropped in the future. That's the way I look at it. Like right now, we're just comparing the spices to the spices. When we're comparing spices and there's blands and crispies and all these others out there, the market's going to be
Yeah,
just fine.
and in regard, just to touch on the market for a little bit, because I think it is a good idea. Before we're gonna need to stretch this out just a little bit to make sure that we have plenty. Although I think the devs are going to keep us on our toes and keep dropping new things that are going to have us talk about each week. But just to touch on the market and make sure that you saw some people coming in and seeing that things are below mint price. What I find funny is that we're even seeing the Lackenfelders and the uncommon talent floor is still below mint price, which is, if we're looking at uncommon and thinking, okay, this is a step above common, and there's interesting thing there. When you're actually minting these chickens, like you probably feel okay if you got like a 94 uncommon based on some of the other things we're seeing at the bottom, and you can get that under mint price right now. And after the next drop, we may even see a little bit more of a drop in the prices. And I don't think it's anything to worry about because once people realize there's no more chickens left and this is it,
Hmm. Yeah.
you almost have to imagine, without just like throwing out financial advice or anything like that, that's where the surge begins. And then the hype builds from that point. Because even as you go up, you see like some of the other more important chickens, when the rares, the higher perfection scores, they're already hard to get to, and there's really not that many on the market with the 20,000 that have been dropped.
Right. So I want to touch back on what Blake was saying about the think of it as a Madden rating. I was having a discussion with some people in the chat earlier, and we were talking about breeding and racing and what kind of variables would kind of coexist and which would affect what and do as what. So like in breeding, say, we're trying to determine how would you get uh, a better chicken from, say you mate like a 90 or breed a 90 and a 92 Dorking together. What is the possibility that that bird is a 94 Dorking? Or, so like I think about those ratings, and like I think, it'd be really cool if it was this way, but probably a
I think
reach. But it,
you're gonna have two sets of ratings though. You're gonna have one set of ratings for the racing, and you're gonna have one set of ratings for the breeding. What I want to see on the breeding is, and I was thinking about this, like how can you turn a, you know, if you were to breed a sultan with a Dorking and you get a Dorking, there's still sultan blood in that Dorking, right? Imagine then if you take that baby and you breed it with a straight Dorking. You would think you just get a Dorking, right? But the
right,
baby's a Dorking. However, if there was a 10% chance that that could be a Sultan, I
Like a
think that,
recessive gene,
of
right.
course,
like the
yeah,
idea that you can
yeah,
get the blue eyes even though your parents don't have the blue eyes if it's in there. Like yeah,
I
that'd be
think a
really
hundred
cool.
percent
Yeah.
that that should be considered because it's still this. You still are every breed. I'm going to be more likely to breed and spend more money if I think that I have a chance to get a Sultan, even though it's 10%. My also that Dorking that's got that 10% Sultan blood is now worth more than the normal Dorking that doesn't have any blood in its genetics.
Right.
And
So
that and that just brings on a whole nother level of just like the alliances you create. Like I saw a guy, and not to call him out or do anything like that, but one guy came in the Discord chat a few days ago and was like, "I don't really think this matters for community. I don't think creating a community matters here because this is all
Oh,
kind of about making money and getting the best ones." But the connections you make right now, like this, we've lucked into it a little bit, and our group on Discord, Coop Collective, like we've just happened to have some good luck in there with some really really good birds. But like who you decide to align with right now
yeah,
is yeah, maybe there's going to be ways that you can get someone to breed with you if you got good chickens. That's great, but the more people the more you
yeah.
decide to stretch out a little bit and create this a little community, the better chance you're going to get. The better chance you're going to get those good birds. And
I think
not to say it's cliquish, but there's a lot to
yeah,
this.
I think it'd be cool to see team rivalries, down the line where you got, even, I was thinking too, like when we name our chickens, you put your little team logo or badge on it, so you know where chickens they come from. That That's
See,
way
that'd
down the
be
line, but
cool. Like I played a silly game called Golf Clash for a while, and it was just a
your
golf. It was just
clans.
simple. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just it was like golf. And as soon as they went to clans, as soon as they made it as a team thing where you could join a clan, and then they set up all these different rankings and all these levels, and then the clans started going at each other, and then they started making Facebook groups where they could start to talk to each other, and all of a sudden it was just like wow, and then the money started pouring into that game really quickly as soon as that happened. So, and that wasn't even anything again. That's what just brings me back to NFTs every time. So people put in so much money, hundreds and hundreds of dollars into a game where you'll never get anything besides just, hey, you
A
won.
coin, a token. Yeah.
Congrats. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And this is just the potential here. Like, think about the alliances. Think about making connections. We can make a full community about this thing that turns in. Once we hit that metaverse, that's the grand goal with the metaverse is to make this whole thing a place where you can go and kind of hang out with your friends. You don't have to live down the street anymore. They don't have to be in your neighborhood. They could be literally these two guys in the middle of the country, and I'm on the East Coast. So this is the fun part about it.
So I want to go back to what I was trying to say earlier about the perfection scores in these birds and different heritages breeding with each other and the possible combinations of you can come up with. And I want to correlate that with kind of like the Madden score.
Hmm.
Well, I think what would be really awesome and unique is if all these chickens had their own unique score per terrain, distance, breeding, racing, all that stuff. And like no chicken is made the same. And I know that it could be impossible essentially with the amount of chickens that are released, but you think about like certain number of Dorkings are better at breeding and better at racing on like the longer track, or the same level of Dorking is not as good as at breeding but is better at racing at other tracks or shorter distances or something along those lines that makes
Hmm.
the chickens more unique. And then when possibly breeding them chickens, like I feel like that level of chance still has to exist. So like you can't expect a 100 Sarama and a 100 or a 100 Sarama rooster and a 100 Sarama hen to produce a 100 Sarama egg, right? So I mean
Yeah.
there
If
still
it's
has to
that
be that,
easy,
right.
it's going to be game too quickly, and I think that that's one thing that they're really looking at as far as like the longevity of the game. If it's gamed, I mean, we all have some what we think is good theories, but ultimately, if you can put a chicken in a race every time and know what it's going to do, that's I think what they're trying to avoid.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Like we're
so
going to have to figure it out on our own, which I
and even
love.
figure it out, I don't know if we'll quite have it ever figured out. They can always, you know, these things could be like we're talking about the rating scale. It could just be 0 to 100, or all they have to use is a couple decimal points, and it gets really, you know, you can deviate quite a bit. You know.
Right. So what we were talking about also was when we start getting into the robust generation of birds, and if there is no possible way of having a 100, and I felt that shouldn't be. There should be 100 robust
Oh, there will.
chickens, and there will be robust or 100 fresh chickens, and so on all the way down to bland. Whether they're really top performers like the bland and tender are top performers as 100 compared to a 100 robust or
Eh,
fresh, probably not. But
I've got some questions about and because from my understanding, the from spicy down to bland is just the generation. How far are they removed from the first generation, right?
mhm,
So, how many are there total? Six, seven? If there's
there are
seven,
6.
well, what is the next? Are we going to have 7 generations and beyond? I think you get pretty quickly to 7 generations. So, are they all bland at a certain point, or like? So, I think there's going to have to be.
You
Uh,
Could it happen right away?
does that
Is that
correlate
just
to if you breed that chicken 6 times and you're going to get bland eggs after that
every time.
every time? So maybe you do only get
But
one
that
or two
chicken's been a
shots at
dud.
that.
You see what I'm saying? That
Right.
chicken is going to be a dud, and I think they're going to try to avoid that. Um, it's
But
going to be. That's why I say it's going to be interesting to see how if they don't give it the small chance to where throughout the heritage. But again, that's why I say the names of those are essentially first generation, second generation, third generation. That's the way I understood it.
Right.
But
So, and
if
they did say that these spicy birds would be the only spicy birds ever dropped. So does that mean if we breed two
good catch.
spicies together, will we create more spicies? And that is the first generation removed from the original drop?
Because technically there's no deviation of their lineage. It's still 100% full spicy.
Correct. And then the next time you breed that bird, then you start getting
So
robust.
there you
I,
go. So this leads into the point. Maybe you, let's say it's like half spicy, half robust. But you get a robust chicken. But
right.
down the line, that's got some spicy, a little bit in it, enough to where maybe 1 out of 7 chickens is a spicy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe something like that, or even lower percent. Maybe 1 out of 20 is a spicy.
So that
I think
element of chance, yeah, yes.
It's
I think
got
it
to
has
be.
to be like that because if it's not like that, again, it's becoming way too simple, and that's
Right.
not what they're going to do here. And it really needs to be driven home, and sometimes I need to drive this home for me. It's like these 33,333. They're probably going to be the only dropped chickens. That's it. Everything else from this point is being bred from here, and if it's but if you can find but that's not nearly enough spicy chickens in the grand scheme of this all. So
Right.
as
Well,
far
if we go
as
to the metaverse
maybe
now,
it's like you may even see a situation where like the thing is many generations removed from its ancestors. So it does seem like to me that and it's also a natural way to try to slow down breeding is that if you every breed you make, you kind of are making your chicken possibly maybe those numbers slightly start to go down. Maybe some of them are stronger than others. Maybe some of them have the ability to flat out give you 5 spices, like just over and over again. But other ones, maybe they have a lower rating again, where it's like maybe a durability rating, whatever way you look at it, where it's like they just drop down a little bit. And all of a sudden, you're getting a fresh chicken a lot faster. And that generation cuts even faster. Because generation from its ancestors, that doesn't mean the length of the game. That just means how often you're breeding that chicken.
Right.
well, and another thing too is this is where I think the heritage comes into play because the Sarama is going to maybe have a better chance at breeding a spicy more than say the Dorking. You see what I'm saying? So
Possibly.
there's going to be, I think there's something going to be tied into it from that as well. That's what I say. There's so many different variables.
Well,
I,
here's the other thing. Like, so the think about the perfection chart here. We're right now we're at 90 to 100. Can there be a spicy that's say a 75?
sure.
Is that possible? We don't know, I guess, because we haven't gotten that far yet. But
See, and that comes
But
down to whether or not we're seeing is that because it's a breeding chicken? Like could a chicken continuously be one that is coveted, but it's not a good racer at all?
here's
And
the
that's kind
thing.
of what
I
you
just
have there.
I just
If
caught I
it's
just
still
read
spicy, yeah.
I'm reading this again. An original purebred chicken and a top performer. So I guess reading that top performer, theoretically, it should still be above a 90. I would assume
or
above
maybe
89.
that or maybe that 75 outperforms the 85 Dorking.
True, if it's a Sarama.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that 75 Sarama spicy beats that 85 Dorking robust.
Well, that's the other thing. You brought up an excellent point. There's only 6 generations here. That's going to get if it just goes down the line and
And
you
that's why I
say
have a
and
hard
we
time
hit
calling
the
them.
and we
Are they
hit
called
bland.
generations? Are they called generations on the tutorial? What are they
Yes,
called?
a
Called
bland
generations?
chicken is many generations removed from its ancestors. So I feel like this chart here of spicy to bland will go all the way from 1 to 100 because how can you have that many chickens out in the
Yeah.
world and like you said eventually they're all going to be bland if it just goes down the list like that. So man, still a lot of unknown
Well,
here.
and
And
that
that's what I mean.
last
I think
line,
there's
And I
always
love
going to
it.
be.
and that last line within stock goes back to what Blake was getting at, is that like by breeding smart, you can create offspring that are strong or stronger than your parents. So I do
That's what I
believe
think.
there's got to be something in there where there is that chance. Because
Right.
if there isn't that chance, and also that's the thrill. The thrill of this, the breeding of these will almost be as exciting as doing the races sometimes, because
Yeah.
you want to see like what you're gonna get, what that drop. That will be the new drop over and over again, is seeing that factor pop in, and it's gonna come. It's gonna be nerve wracking to decide who you align with, who you decide to actually breed these chickens with, and who's paying attention
Right.
to all these
Right.
factors as well. So yeah, I really do believe that there's a possibility that we could see Bland really quickly if we just have people screwing around.
You will.
And that'd be really brutal for them to learn the hard way that you just kind of like destroyed your chicken and
Yeah.
wasted your investment, especially if you had a Sarama and it was high. Like that's the funny thing is if someone has a Sarama 99 and they just breed the crap out of it, and it's like all of a sudden you just like killed your investment. So it's just you're just kind of being. And that's also that's the thing that clearly Zed ran into issues with, is just how much we're going to see the breeding, and how often we're going to see the breeding. And I think that point by Blake and you guys that are kind of jumping into that, I think that's dead on.
Like, I think it's cool. Like, here, let's do like a full on hypothetical here. Say you got a 93 Sarama, you breed it with a 95 Sultan. Okay, that egg ends up being a 94 Sultan. Okay, so you breed that chicken with another Sultan, or a lake lavender, Lake and Velder.
Black and Velder, yeah.
I got a little tongue tied there. The possibility of that egg being like a 96 Sarama, since it has the Sarama heritage from, one generation removed, could that be possible? And or it be a spicy, right? Or like that. Like that's what I
Well, I
love
think
to
that's
think
what's
about. How
always
far
going
can you
to
take
give,
that?
Like this is why I really hope that Blake's point's right here, because if even if you have a Sarama that is not really pushing out great racers anymore, you're still giving that new chicken a little bit of Sarama blood, a little bit of possibility that it turns into that. So there's still that that lottery chance, which it should feel like that. There absolutely has to be risk of failure in these situations,
Right.
and risk a big return.
Or think about this. Say you breed 100 and 100 Sarama and you get a 90 Sarama out of the deal. But then you breed that Sarama with another Sarama, that 90 Sarama with like a 94 Sarama, and it spits out a 97 Sarama. Like that in itself, just, no bird is worthless, because you think like, oh, I bred this 100 with another 100. It should have been at least a 97. This bird's trash. And then you sell it, and then it breeds gold.
I just
and
think
some-
if they put in that little bit of chance, you can actually give these coops that did kind of ruin their chickens can actually have a chance of rebuilding their coop. Because if you end up getting a Dorking that's got 10% Sarama heritage in it, and you breed that over time, and you get one Sarama in your coop, that's going to allow these people to have a chance over time to at least rebound, right? I know the last thing we want is for them to have a terrible chicken and then they're just done. They're going to just find something else to move on. That's not going to really grow the game. So I think
There's got to be a way to bounce back. That's a really good point, because it's got to be a strategy. It has to be a deeper strategy than that. Because if you can, because if you just have too many people get busted, like kind of like I mentioned in the first show, too many people get busted too fast and they're out. There's got to be a way to be able to recoup that. And I really do think that there's going to be a point in this game where the spicy Sarama people are going to be, I can just see it now in all the discords. It's just being like, spamming discords, being like, spicy Sarama, we'll pay. And it makes you wonder, can you pay extra? Like and that's another weird thing. I don't know how deep we're getting into that, but if there is a stud fee, could that become something that actually gets, negotiated and actually paid more for the stud fee? Like, there might have to be some regulations about that, because the market can really go crazy when you allow it to really start almost negotiating what a stud fee can be. But they're
Well,
gonna be
they allow it in
extremely.
Zed. I mean, they set a minimum, and you can pick whatever stud fee you want. Now, here's the catch 22 to that, because if your stud fee's too high, nobody's going to breed with your black chicken. If you
Right.
put a 1E, I mean, they're not, you
Right.
know,
Well, someone would pay it though. But here's
maybe,
another
but
factor
you're
that we're
risking it.
not. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, maybe you're risking it. Maybe, but the way that Zed does is once you lock it in there, you can't pull it out
Right.
until their period's up. So we'll
So here's
talk
another
about that.
factor into this breeding that we're not really considering. That was another topic in the chat today, was the talents, and people were debating whether or not to, when they're buying a chicken off of OpenSea, do you prefer a perfection score high, or do you go for the rare talents, or try and find a combo of each?
I
Um,
I think
eh,
they're going to be weighted evenly.
right.
Whatever that is, I think they're going to be. I think heritage, your performance rating, and what was the one that you were just saying? Um,
The talent.
The
the talent.
talents,
Thank
yeah.
you. Are going to be evenly weighted, probably along with some other factors as well. But they might only they might only weigh 20% each.
Right. So okay, so to continue on with this breeding theory that we're coming up with, and to incorporate these talents in with it. Okay, so again, say you've got a black hole talent and you try and breed it with another black hole talent. Are you guaranteed to get a black hole talent egg? I don't think you should be able to. I still think that should be a rare possibility, or does it end up with a common trait? Or like, what are the possibilities of that bird ending up with a common, like
What
cougar
would be
or
cool is if they set up a common trait to each one of the super rares. That would be the op. You know what I'm saying? So like if they did like I don't know,
like a
with the
worst
black
case
hole,
scenario?
cosmic radiation would be like the weak version of black hole, right? But that would be maybe if you bred the black hole with the black hole, maybe you got the off trait, you see, or the common trait of that too. Um,
Here's another thing that I just literally popped in my head, and I may be, it may be a long reach here or some, along those lines, but say you breed a bird that has black hole and black hole, could it get alienized?
Maybe that's what I mean.
I
Like
mean,
I
yeah,
think all these
that's just kind of
different
where you can go, I
variations.
guess.
Well, that really is something that we don't even know at this point yet. Like, we might have to really start banging our heads on that one to try to figure out, because
It
what
was a
what the
reach.
talents. How no, I get it, but how do the talents move? So if you do two rare talents, so if you have a moving walkway and you have the cold snap, it's like, okay, is that chicken, is that hen, sorry, the chick, now guaranteed to have either moving walkway or cold snap,
Or the
or are
other
we
rare ones?
or the other rare ones? Yeah, exactly. So is it just like, okay, two rares, so it's one of the rares, but if you open up the door and it's like, okay, a black hole with a common trait, even if it is a 100 Sarama, if it's a common trait, do you want to run the risk of possibly dropping down into a common trait and getting anvil? And it's like, all right, you've just gone that far to do it and get this. Now, the only thing that worries me there is that then you really have, you're kind of taking away the idea of incentivizing breeding from beyond just the supers breeding with each other over and over again. And I guess that's where paying for it comes in, the stud fee and the whole bit, and who and all that. But I really do find that part of it to be something that we haven't really been given too much on. I'm curious if you guys think that there's anything we could be seeing about, that are going to let us believe how the talents will transfer beyond just one to the other that they actually have.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, there's nothing that suggests it yet, so that's why it's like really hard to wrap your brain around. Well, what do I buy on the marketplace? Do I go for talent or do I go for racing performance or perfection? Sorry, um, that's tough. We
I
just
would
don't know.
if you were buying 2 chickens, I would say go for one of each.
Diversify them
Yeah,
chickens.
I mean, I think
Diversify your chickens.
You
that's
gotta
literally the
diversify the
best
chickens.
Bring it back.
with so many unknowns, right? We have no we're speculating on everything,
Right.
so we have no known variables really. So the best thing to do is just diversify, right?
Right.
I think that's what makes the most sense. But there was
Okay.
something that
Oh,
I mentioned the other day that you told me to bring up on this. What remind? Do you know off the top of your head?
nope.
It was something. Never mind. I don't have the Discord pulled up, so never mind.
I feel like I remember saying that, but I do not remember what it was. It's probably why I told you to remind me. So let's shift gears back to this talent animation here, and let's kind of go over these and kind of give a little breakdown. We've got anvil as a common trait, and it goes performing chicken pulls out an anvil and throws it at a single victim chicken.
Yeah,
Okay,
and,
so
and before you jump too far there, one thing I did find interesting, and a lot of these things tend to balance out. There's 20 talents, and at least from what because I literally went through and tried to find any situation where it seems like there's an ancillary effect to other chickens within the race, and or just one chicken, the one that you're going after, or just for you. So there seems to be 10 that have a single effect, like anvil drops onto one bird. Kuber, which is the chicken Uber, which I thought was funny, just makes you go faster. The moving walkway being the only rare talent that only affects you. It doesn't seem to have any ancillary effect on anybody else. And then there's 10 that seem like they hit multiple birds, like they have the ability to hit adjacent birds next to you, whether it's the CK-47 where it shoots extra birds, or even if it's just jetpack where it says as it shoots past, it actually makes the adjacent lanes catch on fire for a short amount of time, and then the amount they hit. So it's interesting to see that there seems to be multiple effect birds and single effect birds, all based on these talents as well.
I think machete might be my favorite.
Yeah, I was
Uncommon.
That animation's gonna be fun.
Yeah, because the chicken just starts swinging the machete all over the place, which I can only imagine is going to be hilarious. And then it throws it, and whatever bird is next to it in the lane loses its head. Like that is going to be epic.
I don't think I'm going to get tired of seeing it.
No.
Just chicken with his head cut off. I mean, we're going back to
But
chicken.
here's
Perfect.
something to think about during these animations, and what I picture it because so why the chicken swinging the sword? Are the other chickens racing ahead of him? Probably not, right? I think they pause the race and zoom in on that animation, and it shows him like yakking the chicken's head off next to it, and then the race resumes again.
That's possible. But what if he just swings and say he's got a chicken in his right lane and in front of him in the lane next to him and then on his left a lane or two over, and he's swinging rapidly and he can hit the two birds on opposite sides of him, but then when he throws it, the machete hits the one in the far left lane and
Now-
just takes him down.
Yeah, it does say that they just throw the machete into the crowd, which is hilarious. I mean, just the visual of just like, see you later.
And
Like,
one thing it
thanks
did
for
say
coming, guys.
too is when like the chickens get their heads cut off, they eventually grow their heads back. So you're not out of the race. So even though I'm going to be curious to see how many chickens win a race that actually got impacted by somebody else's talent.
Well, yeah,
Right.
because you got to figure it's not just going to be one talent deployed in one race. Like you got to figure every chicken has the possibility of dropping its talent in any given race.
But I hope there's not too many.
Yeah,
hope
it's got to
there's
be
not-
balanced at somehow.
I mean,
Well, here's something.
But it would make for
Ken-
a wild race.
Well, just for the sake of it, we do have 4 different tiers
Types.
of these talents. So let's just say like moving walkway, which is a rare talent, happens, and then so does machete. And if the moving walkway is going past the machete at the same time, clearly it seems like one will take precedent over the other and not actually have that ability. So as cool as some of these common and even uncommons are, and as fun and funny as they will be, it'd be really interesting to see if even like when you try to drop an anvil on one, if yours also engages at the same time, if it counteracts it based on where the level is.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, maybe, but I don't think. I think you're going to see one action happen at one time.
Right.
Now, I think you might see, depending on the length of the race, more talents come out in the whatever the longest distance is.
Hmm.
Maybe you would have up to four talents possibly come out in that total race. But in the short one talent, you know what I'm saying, may come out.
Right.
And if your one talent comes out short, that's why it's maybe having the talents with the better shorter distance races. It's like there's so many variables. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you've got a common talent that's going to be used, it comes out 30% of the time. Maybe that's better in a short racer.
Right.
Whereas, you know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely, yeah, because that even starts to run into the idea when you look at like Lackenfelder, and you see that they're erratic, that they could either
yeah,
be great or terrible, and it's like
yeah,
okay, like that's the kind of one where it's like all right, in a short spurt, if it's great for a short spurt and it has the ability to not be some of these feel defensive. Like Anvil feels defensive. Blue Egg, it's a defensive move. You're hitting people and knocking them back, and then the ones that I kind of see offensive are the ones that actually shoot you forward. And
yeah.
it's like those chickens, like it's like Lackenfelder, and it has the ability to shoot forward. Could it even shoot? It I'd like this. I can't wait to see Black Hole and just see like does it only affect the ones that are behind
Right. Because
or
it does
proximity,
say.
are you far enough ahead? Can you actually get away from the black hole? Like, I'd be interested with that one.
Yeah, black hole will pull out a minute black hole. A minute.
Minute.
Oh, minute. My bad.
That would be brutal.
Thank you, Blake. A minute black hole and throw it behind them. It'll then expand into a large black
Okay.
hole. It'll start pulling in debris. Other chickens will then start running slower as they attempt to avoid being sucked in. Eventually, the black hole will collapse in on itself. So, does your chicken just disappear and then pop back in on the race
I think
a
he shits
second
out
or
a
so
black
later?
hole. I think he shits out a black hole and it's like
Yeah.
drops a massive, and every chicken behind him falls in.
What
Or
if it was
actually, it
like?
says they get close,
What if
and
they
then the
like
black hole.
dropped it out like an egg, but the egg looked like a nuke?
Like with a little timer on
Black hole grenade.
That's what's so silly exciting about this. That you read some of these and it's just like fan group. Like fan group sounded really dumb when you first saw it, and you're just like, I remember that was the first one I saw. I was like, fan group, what the hell is that? That's my
Right.
talent. And then I read it and it's like, oh, the adoring fans are literally gonna like chase you and like knock everybody out on the way. It's like it's gonna be hilarious to watch.
Well,
And
the performing chicken will become startled and shall run faster. Eventually, the fans group's pace will slow down and they'll fall off the track. Any chickens near the fan group will get hit. So it's like if you're kind of well, is it ahead or behind? I don't know. Which way does it come from? Do the chickens
come from behind? I bet.
come from
'Cause they
behind?
Behind you,
They got
yeah.
to scare him
Yeah.
forwards.
Right. Oh,
They
that's
scare 'em
true. Right. So then
it's-
any chickens that are sucked into the crowd of fans, they get slowed down. That sounds pretty fun.
And that's what I see. That's what I mean. Like fan group is going to slow them and knock them back. I would say further than say one of the more common talents.
So here's another thing. Like, does perfection score only affect racing? Or
I believe
will the
so.
perfection score also aid in the amount of damage or slowdown rate that you get in a race? Safe.
Like, does a 97 black hole have a better than a 90 black hole? Like, does it
No,
affect
but
them
I'm
more?
saying like the chicken itself. Say a 97 chicken is racing with a 90 or a 97 Sarama and a 90 Sarama are running in a race,
Right.
and another chicken is in front of them and turns around and starts shooting them with the CK-47. Does the 97 Sarama take less damage there, whereas the 90 Sarama gets slowed down more because it's
Well,
a lesser perfection rate?
I think that at that point in the race, the 97 is going to be ahead of the 90. So when they both get hit by the CK-47, I think it's going to be the same. But the 97 is already going to be ahead of the 90 at that point.
Well, we don't know that yet. It
Yeah, I
depends.
guess
Or
the
something
interesting-
like that.
Yeah,
You know what I
the
mean?
interesting
Right.
thing there that gets me is just again
Maybe.
how much do each one of these actually like push back? Like when you actually get hit by something, how much are you affected by it? Is each chicken affected differently? So when CK-47 starts shooting, does every single chicken that gets hit essentially
remember-
slow down the same amount, or is
Right.
it different for each one?
Right.
Based on how good
That's what I'm
they are?
saying,
gonna-
based off of their
Yeah.
perfection. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring y'all way
Interesting.
back. You remember Excite Bike?
Yes.
Okay. You remember when you would hit the little things and it would like startle your bike?
Yes.
That's gonna be
Where you
like
hit
the
the oil
chicken.
slick or the
Yeah,
wrong part of
and
the road.
and it kind of stops them.
Hmm.
That's gonna be similar to what we're gonna see with some of these effects on the chickens.
Okay. That's a good comp. Um, so like the other thing too, like duration. Say like back to the anvil. The anvil gets thrown, it lands on the chicken. Is your chicken squashed for multiple seconds and every chicken passes you, or is it just like a 1 second squish and then you pop back up and keep running?
I mean,
Yeah,
I from the go
Because
ahead.
it just says the anvil remains in a stationary position on the track until it scrolls off screen. Okay, so you're like done.
because if you think about that,
Well,
when you
depends on
really
the
start
distance of the
breaking
race.
that, yeah, it's all about distance of the race. Because if you're looking at that situation and you have a shot to win a quick race, then Anvil make a lot of sense, especially if you know you're going up against especially if you are going up against racers that might be a little bit faster, because I know they're going to break these down. And if you have a 90 and you're going against 92s, dropping the Anvil in a short race might actually get you that shot. Whereas if it's a long race and it's a 97, it's going to outpace a 92 easy, or the 93 will outpace a 90 every single time, as long as the race is long enough. So you might even find that the amount of breakdown you're going to have to look in for each and every race and each and every trait. Like, I can't wait to see the people that crunch this data. I can't wait to see the spreadsheets that come with this, and the spreadsheets we'll be having too, and just pushing that out there, because it's going to make people dizzy.
So here's
Which is
another
a
one.
good thing.
Cold snap. The chicken shall pull out an old magical book, will cluck a few words, a sudden flash of cold will spread across the screen, and some chickens will become frozen and start running slower. After a short time, they thaw out and resume running normally. How long, right? So like that there again, we don't know these things. So it's like, does it affect them for 5 seconds, 3 seconds off the screen? It doesn't say here. So it's like, how do you determine what's a good talent? I
Well,
don't
and the
think we
more-
can right now, to be honest.
The more that I think about it, I think that if they did it, the more in depth and in detail they can do it. So I kind of like the idea, like you were just saying, like if you do cold spell and you've got lizard eyes, if you get hit with it, you shake the cold spell off real quick.
Well, it'd be the opposite. I misspoke
Or
last
whatever,
episode.
whatever
Yeah.
it is, whatever you get my point though.
Yep.
Like whatever
Mhm.
so I think like if depending on back to the Madden ratings, depending on the score of how it's broken down in the algorithms, I think that certain things should affect others more or less than
Differently.
the next one. Yeah.
Right.
But I think that would definitely keep everybody on their toes. I mean, your one chicken may be good at just one thing. It's up to you to figure out what they're best at. But
Right.
that
And so-
may not beat the best chicken at that one thing.
So what I'm curious is that we have obviously like the eyes. The eyes seem to make. I think we're all on board, but eyes are going to be something. But do we feel like the stripes have anything to do with it? Like they
Well,
do. They do look cool. And
let me-
I know you got the stripes behind you. I know you're banking on them
Well,
being
no,
something.
we've got also a little bit of evidence.
Mhm.
Do you remember the evidence? If you go back to the video that we watched earlier, and you freeze it, the podium is striped chicken on top, orange,
And it's Dorking.
black chicken second, striped chicken third. So, do stripes matter? It mattered in that race.
Yeah, I mean that could just be like, oh, these are the coolest looking ones. So let's put them up there. But
Maybe.
I still
They did
just.
put-
But why?
yeah.
But why just make it cool when you could make it so much more than just cool? And that's the thing that really hits me, is that like there is with all the different things we already have in this. If striped chickens matter, like when you go through the tutorial, they break down every single percentage for every single type of chicken, all the different ones. It's where I think, like, originally I had my my lizard eyes put up there because we weren't sure. I had it on OpenSea, and we weren't sure if cosmetics were going to actually matter. And I was like, okay, if I can get someone to bite on a lizard eye, I'll go buy some other stuff. And then
Yeah.
it's like, and Josh sent me a text. He goes, dude, there's only like 300 or something silly like that lizard eyes. And I'm like, okay, I'm pulling that off. Just because that can't be, that shouldn't be a coincidence. That shouldn't be something that you can just kind of brush off as cosmetic. So
Right.
I'm really hoping that, I'm not sure what it is yet about the stripes, but I really hope there's something brewing there. I mean, just keep making this as difficult to figure out as possible, because that's the gamification. That's the fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think to the point too that I want to touch on real quick is kind of back to the breeding thing, because I think they're going to keep the same percentages of what they are now. So however many stripes are in the game now, I think as you breed, that's going to be the percent that comes out. So if there's 10% stripes, I think that there's only going to be 10% of the bred chickens that are stripes,
Right.
because you want to keep those.
You have a 10% shot at getting stripes.
Right, exactly. I think you want to keep those, numbers what they are. Otherwise, you're just devaluing what's rare now would be popular, in a year.
Right. So
Yeah, and I guess it even could just be, we're going to get to a point where there's going to be so many birds out there. And if there is, it really is only 10% with the stripes, they do look cool. And do find myself, despite how much I'm trying to focus on this being just about buying the birds that I think they're going to be best, when I was looking at a Cerama to buy, I saw the one that was pink and black, and I was like, looks like Bret Hart. Kind of like it, kind of dig this look. And then it was like, and I was like, man, like, but it just so happened that was also the one that I really wanted to buy because I liked what was in there. But I remember I put it to the chat. I was like, should I go with the rare trait or should I go with the higher perfection? And it was just like, all right. And then confirmation bias hit me. It was like, okay, pink one, got it. I want it. And it's like, so there's still something in there that'll kind of register with those stripes that make it feel like, oh, this is my brand. And especially in the metaverse when you can move around, you have the stripes, but maybe it has something to do with breeding. Maybe the stripes give you a better chance to breed. Maybe there's a percentage in there. Maybe it doesn't have to be a racing thing. That's a whole nother section of it. It's just I can't wait. I can't wait to find that stuff out because it's so detailed and it's so interesting to me.
All right. Well, I lost video, but we're about close to wrapping this thing up, I imagine. We would like you to follow us on Twitter. That's at Cock Talk Derby up there in the top right corner. Or
Shout out to
subscribe to
Dave.
this YouTube channel, for one. What did you say,
Shout
Blake?
out to Dave.
Big-
Shout out
yeah,
to Dave.
big shout out to Dave. He's at Pecking Order Racing Coops at Dave _ in our chat. He is kind of guiding us along this. He's the silent partner, if you will, that we
All the
referring
artwork.
to. Yeah, he's responsible for all the coop collection, having the great artwork. Besides Josh, who went rogue as he always does.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't help himself.
I had to be extra.
And embrace the deadhead, and you can see that by the shirt. Beautiful shirt you're wearing, by the way. I really
Thank
like it.
you.
And that's what I really like about this, and I really think that's just one last thing to stress is that I was really interested in this. I was really excited about this, and then Josh just happened to have linked up with Blake, and then before you know it, I'm thrown into a secondary Discord called the Coop Collective, and there's 3 of us in there. And then Josh throws in 2 of our buddies, and Blake's like, "Oh crap, who the hell are these guys? What are you doing? Like, what's going on here?" And then we brought a few more people in, and next thing you know, Harvey dropped in there, and it's just like, wow, like
Dave and
Dave's in there, and it's like, wow, and then it all started coming together, and it went from this thing that I was like, this will be fun, I'll do some racing, and it's like, wow, this is actually really fun. You're meeting new people, you're connecting, like. Dive into that part of it because there's a lot of NFT projects that claim to be about community, but a lot of them are also just trying to pump those bags. This makes sense to embrace the community because you're not going to survive. You're not going to be able to get to that next level as far as breeding goes if you don't have those connections. It's going to make it a little bit easier. It's going to make it more fun. And yeah, we're doing a lot of this for money. I get it, but that doesn't mean you can have some damn fun along the way.
exactly.
I'm in it for the long haul. I don't know about you. With them showing the teaser of all the little different characters, I mean that shows they are in it too. So I think we're all in it for the long ride.
Yeah, and if you're on the screen now, you can see the volume traded in just just about 2 weeks. Not quite. Is it 2 weeks? Have we had chickens for two
Yeah,
weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Well,
380 ETH.
no, not 2 weeks.
Has it been a
No,
week?
Friday was the first week.
Week and a half.
This
Week
Friday was the first week.
last Friday. Yeah.
Or,
So we've had chickens for a week,
Yep.
a week and a couple days. 380 ETH traded, 2.3 in unique in 2.3k unique in
I'm
owners.
I'm
I'd
not
like
gonna
to see
say
that
the
number get
name.
up, but
I'm not gonna say the name, but I heard some people that were all excited about 60E on their little project they were pumping. And I
right.
didn't even say anything. I'm just like thinking, chickens. Y'all have no clue about chickens, but one day everybody's gonna know about chickens. In fact, I had an idea. If every one of us gave our wives chickens, one chicken, and they told their friends, I bet you we could get more chickens.
Mm-hmm. It's that easy. Spread the
I, I
chickens.
I got to get my wife to start calling it the Bitcoin.
That's
Right
my
now.
wife.
But yeah,
The Bitcoin.
Stop getting the Bitcoin. That's the first step.
Yep.
Get
They
them-
will want to
give it-
raise chickens.
But it's this silly kind of thing, and forget it if this turns into an app or something you can play on your phone.
Oh.
That could
Oh,
be super
absolutely.
dangerous. And that's got to be in the plan. So, yeah, there's going to be some obvious opportunities to flip, some obvious opportunities to make money. I really liked when we were already talking. Like Dave was bringing up, like how he's going to try to use these funds to make that and plan it out properly. Where it's like those will be my breeding funds, this will be this and that, and it's like embrace that part of it because this isn't this you already seen on that the real top tier stuff you can't really get it right now. It's not really available.
Right.
And if it is available, the prices are absurd.
Right.
So the people that are holding, they're holding long term. They know what's coming, and a lot of people have minted a lot of birds. So they want to they want to take that money and they want to go into other projects or just have that money to be able to actually breed or race. So, just hang in there. This is absolutely long haul, and if we're looking at what should be the next jump in NFTs, it's gaming.
Yep. Either
Oh.
play to pay or play to earn or like pay to play or pay to
Straight
earn.
gambling.
Yep. Either or is the next
Well, that's
level.
what this is. I mean, yeah, that's what these are.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it. We all used to playing a gaming system that, like you said earlier, you got coins back on, or in-game tokens.
Take NBA 2K for example. You put money
Yeah.
in to buy VC. You can't
Yep.
pull that money out.
Yep.
With
No.
chickens, you can.
Exactly. That's the difference. That's why I think it's going to change the gaming industry as a whole. That's why truly I've said some crazy things and wild visions that I have with this, but if they can sell out an arena with Fortnite, they don't these players don't get anything back in return unless they're one of the top. Everybody here is a professional gamer the minute these chickens start racing.
Oh yeah.
That's the difference. It's all about how you can
You take it
sift
from
through
you
the
take it
data
from
and-
a almost niche kind of exclusive club to you got the cash, let's do it. That's what it comes down to. Is like you want to buy a $600 PlayStation or you want to buy $600 worth of chickens.
Well, and the thing is you and like right now you don't even need the cash
Chickens.
for $80.
Yeah.
You can, you know what I'm saying? For $80 is all you need.
Right now, $100 gets you, it makes a lot of sense. It makes so much sense to just jump in and grab some of these and be a part of it because it's fun, it's different, and yes, it sounds crazy. I understand
Yep.
that. None of us can sit here and try to have these conversations with people that aren't in this space. But in 5 years, it's always the same story. It's always like, oh, you invested in that. Oh, I wish I would have got that. I wish I would have
Yep.
had an opportunity back then. I wish I would have had the opportunity back then. But those opportunities only come around when you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a pretty good idea that gaming is something that's taking over. We are the generation, especially we all happen to be, middle-aged, older millennials we're the generation that's playing the games with our kids.
And
we don't
that
look at our
played
kids and
games
shame
since
them
we
for
were
playing video
kids.
games.
We've been
Yeah, we
playing
get
video
this.
games since the 80s.
Yes. And it's not stopping. These generations
No.
aren't stopping. We don't have parents now yelling at kids, quit playing video games, it's gonna rot your brain. It's like, no, look what happened to us. We're creative, we are eccentric and making some crazy decisions, and they're turning out to be even bigger gambles that turn into just a different world. Like the whole idea of the metaverse and where it's coming, like get on board. This is fun, be excited. I am, and I don't care how crazy it is. It doesn't matter. I'm just here to have a good time and retire on chickens.
Same here, brother. So one day I was sitting in the chicken coop, and at Yarn Slinger all of a sudden commented and said, "Hey, everybody, I started an Instagram page so we can do cock of the day." Well, I reached out to him ASAP and got him linked up with us so we can kind of broadcast which cock of the day, what we're going to do cock of the week. So you guys submit your chickens in the chat and tag at Yarn Slinger, say submission for cock of the week, and we'll maybe pick one live or we'll put it up to a vote in the chat somehow. But we want to see some cocks of the weeks, and I think it'd be really fun to see what kind of chickens everybody's got. I want to see them. You got a rare chicken with lizard's eyes and tiger stripes? Like, I want to see it.
Yeah, put it on display. Let it know. Let them know. Like, hey, this chicken.
Flop your
Come
cock
get
out.
them.
Yep.
Yeah. You can come get them.
No shame. No shaming from us.
It's all right. A little bit of a slow start. A little bit of technical difficulties.
Sorry, guys, it's
a
my
little
fault.
bit of-
No,
that's all right.
We're this is the first ever
getting
live
there.
stream broadcast I've ever done. I mean, I
Hell.
lost the video of us already, and I haven't even tried to fix it because I'm like, man, we're almost done. I'll figure out what I
Yeah.
did for next time,
I mean,
and hopefully
I
it's
started
better.
it. I started off and I started hearing the echo come back because I had it on my computer, and it's like, oh well, I froze. Like, what is like I had all of my plan in my head is exactly how I was going to start this show, and that's the worst thing. You don't do that. Don't plan it out in your head how you're going to start the show, because it's not going to happen that way, and it certainly didn't. But
Yep.
here we are. This was fun. We're going to keep trying to do this. We're going to keep getting this a little more efficient each
Dialed
time.
in.
We'll see.
Yep. We'll get better.
We'll dial it in.
Hey, we added a new thing today, though. We added video. We had it all dialed in on the audio. We added video and
Yep.
threw us off a little bit. But
Yep.
It'll be
get
we're
there.
trial by fire here. It'll be a learning
Right.
curve. It'll just get better though
Hey,
with progression.
it'll be solid by the time racing's out, okay, guys?
That's
2 to 3
right.
months.
Yep. And you know what? We got a big week coming up. We got some announcements that are going to drop really soon about when the next drop is, and then naming. Naming's fun. Naming's going to be
Ooh, yep.
fun for everybody.
Yeah.
And in the future, we're going to have a lot of exciting announcements coming straight from the Coop Collective as well, and things that we're working on. So definitely tune in and
Keep an
Yeah,
eye out.
We got big
You're out.
plans. If you're on board or early with us, there's going to be some things that are going to benefit you from being on early here and benefit everybody. We are excited about what we can turn this into, and excited just about really the community and everything that we can join from this. So, thanks for coming along. It's a crazy world we're in right now, but there's no reason not to just dive headfirst into this and to keep having fun with us. So until next time, until next week, here we go. Make sure we identify ourselves this time. We have myself, Tyler, at MBF Express. We have Blake at Waddle Waddle Racing Coop. And we have Josh, our man, at Grateful Coops, at Cock Talk Derby, at Cock Talk Derby on Twitter. One of these days, this is going to be smooth when I end this show. But right now, it's not. It's a good.
Yep.
It's a good thing I'm dyslexic, and reading doesn't help me. So.
No.
Until
All right.
next time, guys.
see y'all.
Thanks for coming by.
Deuces, chicken fam.